What's going on, everybody? I'm Terrence, and this is Bank Shipping. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good day so far today. If you ain't up, go ahead and get up, start that grind. We are up in Aberdeen, Maryland. Just got done dropping a load of Kingspan. Y'all know the deal. So we dropped this, got all my stuff put away, got my tarps put back, got my axle lifted. So we're gonna head down to Baltimore, which is about, I don't know, 30 miles, pick up another one of these containers, run that down to Fredericksburg, and hopefully I can get my truck washed, because see if I can get all the mud and everything like that driving me nuts. So I'll see y'all at the container yard. All right, guys, we just dropped that container. We're leaving out of here, and it's a nice little tight back end that we got. Test your driving skills, but that's where that lift axle comes into play. Trailer turns on a dime with one axle on the ground. Don't drag as much in that gravel and stuff. So, but as you guys can see, there's all the containers. They got a whole bunch of them. But they're making an outside storage facility out of these things, is what they said. So they got a bunch more, but they are closed for the rest of the week. So I mean, it's just Friday that they're closed, but then they're also not receiving on Monday either, or Tuesday. So we'll find something else for backhauls in between then. Well, here goes my boy Hotshot 40. He rode with us. What's up?
You didn't bother stopping at the way station up in the 495.95, huh?
I got drive-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just following you like that. He was telling me, Reggie was telling me that we don't need ELD here for this one.
For which one?
Running from here to Baltimore and back.
I mean, technically you still need it.
Yeah. I was like, listen, I don't want to play with that. I don't want to.
I mean, if he might be running under the local clause, under the air miles or whatever, but I go over those. So but I don't run the E-log anyway. It's 86. So, but yeah.
Jeremy emailed me that tomorrow was canceled into Wednesday.
Yeah, they said they're not receiving no more till Wednesday. So
you going back Wednesday?
I might. It all depends. I got a load going to Frederick on Monday. I gotta see if that can drop Monday or Tuesday. So. All right, man. It was a pleasure riding with you. I'll see you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
You too.
All right, take care. Drive safe.
So I finally got my truck washed. I'm so happy. I've been saying it for a couple days. I just couldn't make it happen. But today I was like, I'm going to make sure that I get my truck washed. Because I pass the blue beacon every day. I drop off one of them containers. But I just been grinding so hard I haven't had time to stop. So I made time to stop today to get that done. They did a fantastic job. The only crappy part was, as soon as I got to my customer, like always, it started raining. But the good thing was I was sitting still, so I wasn't driving. I didn't get all that road grime and stuff on the truck. So the truck's still clean. The only thing is it's got some water spots on the windows. But I was waiting to do my windows later anyway. You know, I hate water spots. So, you know, after everything dries from driving down the road, you know, I'll jump up on the hood and get the outside of my windshield, get the inside, get the outside of all the windows and the inside, just because water spots drive me nuts. But let me know down in the comments if you guys are as anal about having clean equipment as I am. You know, I take a lot of pride in my equipment, you know, not just this. But even when I was in my Hotshot, I was the same way. If it was dirty, I had to get it washed. Couldn't ride in dirty equipment. Because after all, you know, I preach it all the time. That's part of your business. That's like your business attire. You know, your equipment is your business, like wearing a suit. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about rate per mile. you always hear, you know, $2 a mile, $2 a mile, $2 a mile. That's something that's almost ingrained in everybody's head who is in the trucking industry or getting in the trucking industry. But a lot of guys know that $2 a mile ain't it. You know, so $2 a mile is a good base point, I guess you could say, something to set your minimum rate per mile at. But that's not something that you want to shoot for. That's not something that you want to constantly run for. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, I crunched a little bit of numbers. You know, I got some stuff written down, so I'll be looking down to make sure that I say everything right that I wrote down. You know, it's just something on the $2 a mile thing. I personally could care less if it's $2 a mile. You know, there are brokers who come out and say, oh, well, this load pays $2 a mile. I don't care. Am I supposed to jump for joy that this load pays $2 a mile? You know, I've said it before, $2 a mile, that standard is like 30 years old. And how much has stuff went up since the 80s? A lot. You know, so let's get out of that mindset of the $2 a mile. You gotta run for $2 a mile. Let's get out of that mindset. And this is why. So I did some research, and on average, now there could be less and there could be more. So when I talk about these things, it could be less or more. I'm just talking about the average. And also I'm rounding up. That way it's easier for nice round figures. So on average, a truck travels 45,000 miles a year. Now, like I said, some people travel less, some people travel more. But on average, a truck that travels commercially, that moves freight, travels 45,000 miles a year. Okay? So if you were to get $2 a mile, and that would be $2 a mile per all miles traveled, not loaded miles, all miles, that's $90,000 that a year that you would make. 45,000 times 2 is 90. So that's $90,000 a year that truck would make. Okay? So let's say that truck is getting 10 miles per gallon. Okay? So if you're getting 10 miles per gallon, 45,000 divided by 10 is 4,500. So that means you're using 4,500 gallons of fuel a year on that 45,000 miles. Okay? So the national average right now for diesel is $3.27. Okay, so if you take that figure and you multiply 4,500 gallons of fuel by $3.27 a gallon, you get roughly $14,715. Okay, so remember that number. That's for your fuel. That's how much your fuel is going to cost for the year. Okay, so say you're new. You're jumping into this business, and we'll go off of Hotshots because there seems to be more people jumping in Hotshots than it is semis. So let's say you go and you buy a brand new $80,000 pickup and a $20,000 trailer. So you got $100,000 worth of equipment, all right? And you stretch those notes out for 6 years, 72 months, okay? Your payment, your monthly payment for your equipment will be about $1,400 a month. Now, I didn't calculate interest or anything like that. I just did the 100,000 divided by 72 months and get roughly $1,400 a month. Okay, that comes out to be $16,800 a year. All right, so that's your yearly expense for your equipment, $16,800. All right, well, now you need insurance. Okay, insurance can range anywhere from, I've seen $500 all the way up to $3,000 a month. So we'll go somewhere in the middle. We'll say $1,200. You know, that seems to be So, a lot of people's paying around $1,200. So we'll say $1,200 a month for insurance. Okay. So if you're paying $1,200 a month for insurance, you multiply that by 12, that's $14,400 a year for insurance. All right. The next thing I'm going to say is maintenance. Okay. Now, whether this is you put this in a maintenance fund or this is how much the maintenance cost you over the year, but let's use a nice round figure like $10,000. Okay. That'd be oil changes, tires, all that stuff. It might be on the low side, might be on the high side, but we'll just, for this example, we'll use $10,000 a year for maintenance. Okay. So let's run down that again. All right. You're spending $14,715 in fuel. You're spending $16,800 a year for equipment payments. You're spending $14,400 a year in insurance, and you're spending $10,000 a year in maintenance. So if you add all of that up, okay, it comes out to about $56,000. So you say $56,000 is how much your expenses are going to be for the year. And then remember what I said earlier, we're averaging $2 a mile per all miles. That's $90,000. So that would be what your gross is. So you take $90,000, which was your gross, and subtract your expenses, which was $56,000. Okay? That leaves you with $34,000. Say that again. $34,000 is what you're left with. That is your net. Okay? $34,000 is all you're left with if you run for $2 a mile per all miles traveled. So that means you either got to stay loaded all the time, or you got to run for a little bit over $2 a mile to average $2 a mile per all, per all travel. If you're only doing $2 a mile on every mile that you're loaded and you're deadheading a lot, then your per mile average is going to go down. So it's going to be even worse. Okay. So just to put that in perspective, that $34,000 a year that you make by running $2 a mile per all miles traveled, that's $14.50 an hour if you worked a 40-hour job. Now, I don't know about y'all, for the guys who are in the industry, y'all work 40 hours a week? Because I sure work way more than 40 hours a week. Between being on the road and doing my own maintenance and stuff like that, it's way more than 40 hours a week. So if you're running and you have it in your head that you're going to make $2 a mile, that comes out to $14.50 an hour. There are manufacturing jobs. There are a whole bunch of jobs. I mean, I'm pretty sure the McDonald's where I'm at pays more than $14.50 an hour. So let's stop preaching this $2 a mile stuff, because $2 a mile is going to put you out of business. Plain and simple. You're going to do all this work, have all this equipment, all this debt for $34,000 a year. Just think about that. So if you're thinking about getting into business, okay, you're thinking about starting a Hotshot trucking company, just remember that. Because if you're coming from a job where you're making $18 an hour, yeah, you might not be happy at that job, but ask yourself before you jump into the business, is it worth that much of a pay cut? Now, to some people it may be, and I'm not going to fault you. I'm not going to say that you got to be unhappy to make money. If this is what you like to do and you're okay with that, then by all means do it. I just want to put it out there because a lot of people don't talk about it. All they do is they talk about the $2 a mile, or don't operate for less than $1.50 a mile. The lower you go, the worse it gets. You got to run, just for a prime example, simple math. If you did hit a lot, say somebody like me, I don't did hit as much now that I'm in this, but if you run 150 miles, because I'm local, but if I go over, we'll say something for the over the road guys, if you run 1,000 miles on a load, okay, and you take that load for $2,000, and then you pick up another $1 a mile load coming back because it pays for fuel, because I hear that a lot. There's fuel money coming home, or fuel money getting me to another load, a better load. So now you've traveled 2,000 miles and you've made $3,000. You do the math on what your all miles traveled would be. It's going to be less than $2. And so then that number that I was talking about, that net, that profit margin, it gets even lower. So let's get out of this $2 a mile stuff. Know your worth. I've said it time and time again. Know your worth. Know what your equipment is worth. Know what you are worth. Know what your services are worth. Know your worth and charge accordingly. Now, if you think your services is only worth $2 a mile, I can't help you there. But I can tell you my services is a whole lot more than $2 a mile. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. While I was getting loaded, I didn't have nothing else to do. So just think about that, though. Think about those numbers. Rewatch it. Write them down. Run your own numbers. Just think about that, okay? It kind of goes along with the video that I posted the other day with, your business plan. Have that stuff in your business plan to have, a projection of what your profit margin is going to be. If you're planning on only running for $2 a mile, then that's what your profit margin is going to be. And you got to decide if it's worth having all this equipment, the headache of being a business owner and things like that. I didn't even talk about taxes. So that's $34,000 that you profit, and that's before taxes. If you run $2 a mile per all miles traveled based on those numbers. You got personal taxes. Your income taxes. If you're in a state that you got personal property taxes, you got that stuff. If you're running CDL, you got IFTA taxes. If you have a CDL, there's other fees that you have. You got your drug and alcohol consortium fees. If you're grossed over a certain weight, you got your heavy highway use taxes. You got your drug and alcohol clearinghouse that you got to pay to run queries every year. That's a lot more stuff than the basics that I said. I just went over the basics. So really think about, is $2 a mile really worth it? All right. So looks like we're loaded. I'm gonna wait for them to push this stuff together, and I'm gonna jump out, strap everything, and we're gonna head back to the yard. I'll catch y'all in a little bit. so after we hit a lot of traffic going through the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, we are finally in Virginia Beach. We stopped at Big Charlie's truck stop down here in Virginia Beach. It's about 15 minutes away from the strip. $15 a day to park. I'll be here for the whole weekend, so $45 for the parking job, and then you get a night free. Not that I need it, but now it's time to go enjoy the ocean for the weekend, the fam for the weekend. So hope everybody has a good weekend, nice safe weekend, and remember what I said. Think about that with that $2 a mile. Think about what that's getting you. So as always, stay prayed up, grind hard, and stay humble.